Hey Nakama, this is Gomu Gomu, it's me. My name is Aldi Yin, or Alden, and today we're going to be talking about episode 1076, The World That Luffy Wants. Let's get into this. So, the episode starts off with Kaido sitting in a chair looking younger, so we already know it's a flashback. Reflecting on his past and all the things he's done in the name of war, and he seems like, because we only see him when he's, when 10 and up. He seems like he wants to show how strong he is, and, he does everything that he does just in the name of being the strongest. So that's the kind of, we kind of knew that, but we see where it started in the grassroots of things. So at the age of 10, Kaido already had men following his lead because of his strength. They were like, yeah, Kaido's the one, Kaido's the strongest person. So we see that as a young age, he was a leader because of his strength. So people followed him. I'm not going to say it was all out of fear, because there was people that just genuinely gravitated toward him. So it was like kind of a respect and a fear thing. So the episode kind of doesn't kind of, but it goes to Vodka Kingdom 46 years ago. So we're roughly saying that Kaido is almost 60 now. So aging in One Piece is kind of weird, but I digress. A villager is talking about how, and this is like he's saying it out loud, but he's saying how they have to pay tribute or they face the consequences because the villagers in Vodka Kingdom are just tools for the country. So it seems like it's a place that's very corrupt, and the higher ups treat the lower class like shit. So that's where you can kind of see some resentment grow into Kaido, because he doesn't feel like everybody's treated equally and fairly. So he also is one of those kind of people, like a Luffy type, not obviously exactly like Luffy, but he challenges the status quo. He says, why does everyone bow down to the celestial dragons? We already know Luffy doesn't really like those people. So he's kind of in the same mindset of, why is everybody bowing down to him? So, we see how he's developing. He's worried about strength, and then he sees his people are being treated like shit, and then he says, well, why do the celestial dragons get to treat everybody like shit? And then he gets drafted to be a Navy soldier, to which he retaliates, why would I be a government dog? Kaido is a very strong asset. He's very powerful. He defeats basically armies by himself, so why wouldn't the Navy want that? He was also, because of how corrupt the Vodka Kingdom is, he was traded to the Navy for his country's right to participate in the reverie. Now that's just politics right there, and he even says out, "Don't use me to get into your politics. I don't care about that." So after all that's happening, because this is gonna be a flashback episode, because that's what they like to do with villains and people they introduce. They like to show, oh, look at what their life was like beforehand. So the episode cuts back to the One Piece version of a beam battle, where Kaido says Luffy will be betrayed by his crew because he's weak, which we already know that's not the case. Every single one of them has faced death and said Luffy is still going to be the king of the pirates. Every single one of them has showed, undying loyalty to the man. Now, there are some theories in the One Piece verse that I don't agree with. That once they get to Laugh Tale, that Zoro or Sanji or somebody like that is going to betray him and turn their stuff like that. But I don't believe that. I don't think that's where this. I don't see that's where the series is going. But Kaido says in his rage that he wants a world full of violence. He wants the weak to be eliminated and the strong are going to survive. Which kind of, like, my whole thing with things like that is, when you say the strong are going to survive and the weak are going to be whatever, there's always going to be somebody stronger. So does that necessarily mean the person under them is weak? Because if you say the strong are going to survive, right? So you take care, you get rid of all the weak people, right? And let's say you're left with 100 strong people. There's always going to be a stronger person. There's always going to be the strongest person. So that kind of logic doesn't really make sense to me with him, with anybody like Thanos and Marvel or stuff like that. It just never made sense to me when they say, oh, only the stronger can survive. Yeah, but there's always going to be somebody weaker than the person ahead of them. Like Kaido's the strongest right now, but he could get taken out by a weaker or a couple other weaker people. Oh, you see what I'm saying? So it just never made sense to me. But the episode then pans to the inside of Onigashima, showing the samurai, a few straw hats, and Cypher Pole all dealing with the burning building. Now, that was kind of weird. But this episode kind of does a lot of, let's get to this side, let's get to that side. So it's like a lot of information to take in. So we go back to Kaido and Luffy, and Kaido asks Luffy what his goal is. And actually, which is pretty crazy to me, but Kaido gives Luffy a compliment. He said, "You did great getting up to this point." So it's kind of like an arrogance type thing. You know, he's got that little Susanoo around him, you know, like in Naruto, the flame dragon around him. So he's feeling pretty confident, I think. So he's like sitting there basically, speaking from a place of arrogance, which I don't think you should do in the middle of a fight. But I'm not Kaido, so I don't know. But after a blast breath that Kaido unleashes on Luffy, the episode goes back to Kaido's story, where he just escaped Navy imprisonment. Now, we see his early bounty. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this was his first original bounty or if this was just what he got after he's escaping Navy imprisonment. But it was 70 million berries. Now, whether that's first, whether that's second, whatever the case may be, that's a lot because he was still a young. I think he was a teenager at this time, so it's a lot. So then he gets captured again, only to escape again. Now, the Navy officers are sitting there like talking, and they're like, "Man, he only gets caught whenever he's hungry. Our ships aren't cafeterias, right?" So then the episode fast forwards 2 years from the flashback, right? So it's not 2 years during present time, but 2 years from the flashback, right? So instead of 46 years ago, it's 44 years ago, right? And they're saying this one he was 15. So there's a lot of jumping around numbers, whatever. They say this one he was 15, and it flashes back to where he's on a pirate island named Full of Lead, which is just great. Great name. So Whitebeard finds Kaido and asks if he wants to be a pirate. Kaido's sitting there contemplating, and then Whitebeard says, "Well, Rocks wants to see you." So we get a little cut. Kaido joins the Rocks Pirates. Now we're getting a glimpse at the Rock Pirates going to the God Valley. We're getting the God Valley incident from Kaido's POV, but we don't really get to see what happens. We just see kind of the beginning and the aftermath. We don't see actually what happened during that time, which I think that is going to be its own little, like, not mini arc, but it's going to be like, I think between 5 to 10 episodes later in the series, but whatever. So the Rocks Pirates fall, right? So they had this big incident at God Valley, and then news comes out that they fell. Now you see Big Mom at that island Full of Lead, and she's saying she's going to make him pay. We don't know who. I already, while I was watching, was venturing that it was going to be Kaido, but we don't know. We'll find out in a second. But this is where I would say is the start of Navy hero Garp, because the people on the island are saying we heard it was, basically Garp that took them all out, or maybe there wasn't enough cohesion in the team and they didn't really work well together. So, we don't really know what it's up to until we get those episodes. I think Garp had a monumental role in the fall of the Rocks Pirates, but I'm not going to say it was completely him. So now we find out that Big Mom is looking for Kaido, blah, blah, blah. Nothing really happens. Then we get another cut to where Kaido is meeting with Higurashi, and we see King there as well. Now, there's a lot of names that have been thrown, first off, in the entirety of One Piece, but just in Wano in general. So Higurashi is the one with the Mane no Mi, I think that's what it's called. But the one where she can basically change who she looks like, the Bon Clay Devil Fruit, that's what I like to consider it as. But so she's there talking to, Kaido, saying, "Oh, we're gonna get you all the weapons, we're gonna make you the strongest in the world," and blah 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 blah. Basically, she wants him to come to Wano and take care of the Kozuki and everybody in the land of Wano. So then the episode comes back to the present, right? Luffy with his very, confident way, he yells out that he's gonna win. He's not worried about what Kaido's talking about. He's not worried about his, dragon armored flame thing, whatever, right? So then, like I told you, this episode jumps back a lot. So there's another flashback to where Kaido is talking to King and tells him that Yamato mentioned Joy Boy. He says he doesn't know where Yamato heard it, but all that he knows is Kaido says that Odin wanted Wano to be open for Joy Boy, and also said King has been waiting for Joy Boy, and that Kaido knows who Joy Boy is. So does that mean he knew it was Luffy, or he knew a prophecy? We're gonna find out in a second, right? So then after the break, the little intermission, I don't know, But after the break, you see a Cypher Pole agent escaping Onigashima with that skywalk that Sanji learned, which they never really. If somebody could point me to an episode where they really break that down, I'd really appreciate it. But they don't really talk about how he just learned. Oh yeah, I can walk on the sky now, guys. And my whole thing is, why don't devil fruit users learn how to do that? Is there like a devil fruit, thing against it? Like, why doesn't Luffy learn how to skywalk? I think that would help out tremendously. But whatever, I digress. So the clouds around Onigashima are starting to fade, meaning Kaido is losing strength, right? So Momo notices this and says, he peps himself up, says, everybody's counting on me, and he starts to make his own flame clouds. Now, when you see his flame clouds and you see Kaido's flame clouds, you're looking and realize these aren't really going to carry Onigashima. So there's a little bit of worry going on. But then we cut back to Denjiro and Hiyori embracing after Denjiro has cut down Orochi. He's burning and, making a snake steak, I guess. I don't know. But, it's a scene that we don't really need. Like, we already saw everything that happens. They're just embracing talk. And then Denjiro is really saying, oh, you've been through so much, which we know, and this and this and this, right? So, whatever. Then we cut back, because like I said, there's a lot of cuts. Water is sweeping through Onigashima, and it's actually Raizo using water to eliminate the fire that's engulfing the castle, right? So then we cut back to Kaido, and Kaido's kites are evaporating as him and Luffy are locked in a battle of wills. This is literally, I want this world to look like this. You want the world to look like this. We're going to see who has the will to stick it out, right? And it's literally one of those anime where it's me versus you, and we're just on a collision course. So, but Onigashima starts falling, and Momo steps into action, creating his own flame clouds that are actually, flame clouds. And that just means that, having a version of Kaido's devil fruit isn't so bad after all. But we're not going to talk about that. Kaido is biting the hand that Luffy is trying to punch him with, and also asking Luffy what kind of world can you create, which is kind of weird that he can get this much out. Well, it's not, because he's using the flame dragon. Forgive me, whatever. We get another flashback, but this time one of Luffy telling Tama that he's going to make a world where she can eat till she's full every day. Then on top of that, we get an epic montage of Luffy, Momo, Kin, other samurai, the minks, everybody. Okay, so Luffy says that he wants to create a world where, and then Kaido's fire dragon armor thing is like falling apart. It's like disintegrating. Like, this is one of the like masterpieces of anime where there's like context and, a speech and everything in the middle of like a fight, because that's not how fights really work. And then Luffy says that he wants to create a world where his friends can eat as much as they want. And then we get another montage, but this time Odin and the others, as Luffy's fist finally gets through and hits Kaido square in the jaw, knocking him unconscious, sending him crashing to the ground. He's just falling at this point, right? So we get a cut back to Luffy. Luffy's exhausted and still smiles and laughs, and, he's looking like Joy Boy and everything. So the sky fills with lights and wishes from the people of Wano, saying that they want to get rid of Kaido. They're done with Kaido. They wish he never came and everything. Then we get the audio of Kaido saying he knows who Joy Boy is. Kaido says whoever defeats him is Joy Boy. Now, we kind of knew that Luffy was Joy Boy like way early in the anime, but just hearing the confirmation from somebody as strong as Kaido saying, oh yeah, whoever beats me is Joy Boy, that's pretty special, right? So then we see him falling into a hole in the ground. He starts to disappear. We don't know what that means, but it's like a sending off, but it's not. Like, there's that kind of bit of mystery, so we'll see what's happening, right? So the preview for the next episode, Kaido falls and falls into the abyss, and the rest of the people learn of the outcome of the battle. Luffy is exhausted while the others relish in victory. Now, I think this episode was pretty good. I wouldn't rank it as high as the other one. I think I had the other one at like an 8. I think I would give this one like a 7, maybe even a 6.5, just because when you do it like a flashback episode, I'm okay with flashback episodes. I like knowing people's stories. I love knowing Kaido's, but just have a majority of the episode be that. Like, with the constant cuts here, there, it kind of takes away from everything we're watching. So I liked it, but it could have been better. So, but anyways, that's how I felt. That was my review. Please like, share, and subscribe. Just remember, be safe and well on your travels, and just know I will be the king of YouTube. Peace.